Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard. Steve Malzberg here, and I come as the bearer of good news. On Tuesday, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. Okay, and what it does is it bans athletes born as males. And yes, sorry, you're born as either a boy or a girl, a male or a female. Boys will be boys, girls will be girls. Get it? Got it. So it bans male athletes, athletes born as men, from competing on girls' sports teams. Duh. Kindergarten through high school and then in college if those universities or the colleges receive federal funds. That having it any other way is a violation of Title IX. It's common sense. It's one of the things the public voted for when they elected Donald Trump and voted against, women's sports being infiltrated by biological males. They voted against that. They voted for this. But the vote of 218 to 206 included only 2 Democrats. Out of 424 members, 2 Democrats voted for this bill. 1 voted present. Okay, he didn't even know if he was for it or against it, I guess. The 2 Democrats were from Texas, not surprising, because they know who their constituents are. And again, this was adjudicated. The public spoke. They found out what Kamala Harris was for. Sex change operations paid for by you and me for prisoners. Girls competing, men competing in girls' sports. They found all that out, and they were sick of it. The electorate didn't want it. They don't want it. But you know what Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, the leader of the Democrats in the House, said about this bill before the bill was passed? He referred to it as the Child Predator Empowerment Act. The Child Predator Empowerment Act? Really? Where does that come from? Well, Fox News asked his office. He posted that. And I don't get it. I don't get it at all. They said the post speaks for itself. This is going to encourage attacks on young girls? I just don't get it. It would, to me, it makes no sense. If I sit here and try to analyze or figure it out, I'll sound as dumb and out of touch and crazy as he sounds with that post. He's not the only Democrat to feel that way. The article says that there was at least one other Democrat who also called it the Child Predator Empowerment Act. So this is how out of touch these Democrats are. This is how radical these Democrats are. This shows that they haven't learned anything from the disastrous election, disastrous from their point of view, in November. They have not learned anything. Now, this same bill passed 2 years ago. The Republican House passed it 2 years ago, and the vote was 219 to 203. Similar vote. But the Democrat-controlled Senate never took it up. You could bet the Republican Senate will take this bill up and will act on it. Let's just hope there are enough Democrats to go along to make it all happen. But Hakeem Jeffries isn't the soft-spoken, kumbaya, make nice person, leader of the Democrats that you think he is. Okay? There's a story that CNN did talking about his reaction to his uncle, Leonard Jeffries, who was a professor at City University of New York, who got in trouble for what he said about Jews and others. And what Hakeem Jeffries said to CNN, his reaction was, but what he actually wrote for the college paper that he was attending, Hakeem Jeffries. I have that article, and I'm going to do a show on it. And you'll see what he said about black conservatives. Wow. And how he defended, to an extent, his uncle, and even mentioned Louis Farrakhan. Yeah, Interesting, he never gets asked about it by the media. Never. Not even the conservative media. Nobody. Nobody talks about this. Nobody. CNN did. CNN once. And it's there, and you could find it. I'll post it another time. Let's move on to something else. The Laken-Riley Act. That was passed also by the House just recently. And what that does is, and that vote was 264 to 159. 48 Democrats got on board. 48 did. But what about the rest of them? What about the 159 who said no? And you know what they said no to? Laken-Riley, of course, the nursing student at Georgia who last February was viciously murdered by an illegal, okay? This bill authorizes, actually requires, that you hold and deport illegal immigrants charged with crimes, whether it's burglary or theft or larceny or shoplifting. Now, I've heard whiny liberals like Jake Tapper. He's a journalist. My butt. He's a talk show host. I've heard him. I've followed him. They're all talk show hosts. I'm a talk show host. 40 years I was a talk show host. I was never a journalist. If you give your opinion and have an obvious slant the way Jake Tapper does, in my view, I interpret him as a talk show host. He could call himself whatever he wants. That's fine with me. But, you know, talking to a Republican guest or someone who was in favor of this, I forget who it was. But, just shoplifting or is that fair? Hey, first of all, they're breaking the law by being here illegal. I know there's procedures that have to be followed. But what are you going to do? Wait until they commit a murder? Wait until they commit a rape? If they break the law and they're advertising with flashing lights, hey, I'm not afraid to do this, and I know it's against the law, get them out before there is another Laken-Riley. Okay? Now, the good news here also is in the Senate, twice, procedural votes, they voted to move along with this legislation. 82 to 10 was the last vote to debate this bill. Now, Democrats, a lot of them want to add amendments, and I'm sure those amendments will be, oh, you can't do it for shoplifting. Oh, you can't do it for this. Oh, you can't do it. It's not fair. Oh, you can't do it for that. And you can't separate them from their families, from their children. What does that mean? If someone in this country gets arrested, they're taken to jail. I mean citizens, American citizens. And guess what? If they have kids at home, they're separated from their children and their family. I mean, why? But the left wants illegals who would be arrested or deported to not be separated from their family. Really? Who are they, these people, the left? They're out of their minds, and they lost because they're out of their minds, and they don't get it. But at least I'll give credit to the 48 in the House who voted for the Laken-Riley Act. But what happened with the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act was a disgrace. And what Hakeem Jeffries said is, to me, loony. Loony. You want to protect girls from boys playing with them and from boys, who call themselves girls with penises, from undressing and being in the locker room with kindergarten, first, second, third grade, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth girls. And this is what he calls the Child Predator Empowerment Act? Really? What does that even mean? Maybe one day he'll explain it. Okay, folks, hit the little subscribe button under the video. Pass this link around. Tell your friends. Let's build an audience. Let's do this as often as we can. I know that's up to me. And I'll try. I'm just doing this because I love doing it. Okay? I am not making a penny doing this right now, and I don't know that I will ever. But I'm doing this because I've gotten encouragement from people, and let's build it up. Help me build it up. Subscribe, and have your friends watch this and subscribe as well. Whatever power you might have over your friends. I just looked at the little button I have to push. Sorry. Steve Malzberg. Until next time, stay safe.